Well, the devil in the Ozarks is on the run. You all been keeping track of that? You know what I'm talking about? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I want to talk about that and survival on the run. It's an interesting case. If you're not familiar with it, a guy by the name of Grant Hardin, a former cop down in the Ozarks, chief of police of some little town somewhere. Doing a bunch of time. Used to be a cop in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Cool little town. We go there occasionally. But he bounced around between several little towns down there in the Ozarks in Missouri and Arkansas. And he'd been serving a whole bunch of years. I don't know. He got 30 years sometime back for a murder. Got another 50 years for a rape up around Rogers. And so he's been in this prison or correctional facility. I don't know what. Seems to me that I heard that it was a medium level, but I can't. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he escaped, and there had been a movie made about him. This guy is a one mean ass, and so much that there had been a movie made about him, Devil in the Ozarks, right? I haven't seen it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll watch it one of these days when I get time. You can too. But he escaped, just walked out. I guess he put together some kind of makeshift uniform that looked like maybe a guard uniform to an idiot, you know. And the guards down there just waved him through. I don't want to say anything bad about those guards down there, but I'm having a hard time not. But let's don't talk about that. Let's talk about, I was just watching, the thing is, he's still on the run. He's a danger out there to everybody because he is one mean SOB. And I just watched a news article, news item. I forget what channel it was from. Might have been a national. I'll put it up on the Patreon channel for all of you who are on Patreon to watch it. If you're not with us on Patreon, why not? You ought to be. Join us. And they were interviewing. So you know how they are. Oh, this we need an expert to tell us, what are you doing to find this guy? What are the dangers? What's he going through? What does he want to be looking? So they were interviewing Dave Canterbury, and I'm sure most of you are very familiar with Dave Canterbury, Pathfinder School, right? I don't watch his stuff, I'll be honest. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's certainly interesting. I did all that stuff when I was younger, and it's not something that I watch now. But they had him on, and they were asking him things like, you know how serious news people can get. Well, Mr. Canterbury, the expert, what are the dangers? What is he going to be looking for? What should he do? What should he do then? And I was really surprised at what Canterbury was saying. I should have brought I just got done with a big cheeseburger. I should have brought a Yingling out here to wet my throat. So what should he do? So Canterbury says, well, one of the first things he has to be, one of the dangers for him is mechanical injury. Which I know that this is the latest thing. People have to make things seem more professional. They can't just say injury. It's got to be mechanical injury, man. Twisting your ankle, falling down, dislocating a knee, a shoulder, a wrist, something like that. A boo-boo to the body. And he says, well, he's eventually going to have to find food, and then he's going to have to find water, and blah, 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 blah. And the guy says, well, there's a lot of caves down there. Think he's going to be in a cave? And Canterbury says, oh, no. He doesn't want to go into a cave. And this guy had a good point. He says, to stay away from thermal and, aerial surveillance and drones and things like that. Oh, no, says Canterbury. No, he doesn't want to go in a cave because caves are cold. If it does, it needs to be a shallow cave because caves are cold and wet. Okay, let's back up, shall we? I know a bit about the Ozarks. We got land in the Ozarks. People have lived in the Ozarks, and I mean out in the Ozarks. If you don't know anything about the Ozarks, fly over the Ozarks, or just go to Google Maps, okay, and see the Ozarks. Trees everywhere, okay. Mark Twain National Forest, beautiful place. There are people that have been living out in the Ozark Hills forever, and nobody knows it. How do I know? Trust me, I know. This guy is a badass. Not only is he a badass, he's a mean one. Things are not going to hold him back like would hold back other people. And Canterbury seems to think that he's going to get caught when he breaks into a hunting cabin, or he says a lion cabin, you know, or something like that. Nah, I doubt. Now, you can never say anything will never happen, just like saying something will always happen, don't I? But let me just line out a few things about this and what people don't understand. The Ozarks is full of water. You can't, if you throw a rock up in the air and it comes down and hits, unless it hits in all the red rocky dirt, water is going to come up. Now that's an exaggeration, but the Ozarks, the reason it's so green is because there's so much water down there. Okay? Water everywhere. This guy's not stupid. He probably knows what he's doing in the woods. He spent all of his life in the Ozarks. Water's going to be no problem. You know, he's going to walk down the road. He's going to, if he went in the river, he lost the bloodhounds under a heavy rain, so they don't know where he is. He'll find a can somewhere. He'll be able to start a fire, and he will heat up his water, and water will not be a problem for him. And then Canterbury says, well, then he's going to have to find food somewhere. As if he's looking around for a bunch of Twinkies, or he's going to go in the local Dollar General. You know, well, he might do that, because Dollar Generals, if he's able to put together, you know, some decent looking clothes, and that's not hard either when you're out there on the run. You might go in a Dollar General, because they're all over the place and down there, and they're isolated. Plus, well, most people aren't going to know who he is, okay? Those who do will be afraid of him. If he's in their store, they're not going to be on the phone with the sheriff's department. They're just going to hope he doesn't kill them while, you know, they're going to want him to leave the store. Then they may call, but by then he's back into the woods. And most of those departments down there don't have bloodhounds, okay? So food's not going to be a problem, because the Ozarks is full of food. It is hopping and running and crawling and swimming all over the Ozarks. And he probably knows what he's doing. The fire, do you hear the fire behind you? Is it casting kind of a dramatic glow on me? Probably cool for a video about the devil in the Ozarks, right? So no, that's not going to be a problem. Caves. There are plenty of caves. You know, past a certain point, caves have a temperature that is pretty normal. I forget exactly what the normal temperature is in a cave, but it's perfectly livable. I mean, you can live down there in the winter and the summer, and you're fairly comfortable. And the idea that he's going to stay wet forever, I mean, Canterbury seemed to think that this guy was never going to dry out, right? Oh, he's going to be wet, and he's going to be cold, and hypothermia is a problem. Well, yeah, I mean, we know that. But, you know, if you know what you're doing in the woods, hypothermia is not going to be a problem. He's going to be fine. And in a cave, you go in deep enough, and the Ozarks is just full of caves. They're not going to be able to see you. They're not going to be able to see the light of your fire. It's going to be a fairly livable temperature. So I don't know where he's. Yeah, I think it's one of those things. You know, call the expert from out of town who doesn't know the area and see what he has to say. Yeah, I'm not saying that Canterbury doesn't know what he's talking about in his field, but he's not the guy I would talk to or bring in to track somebody in the Ozarks. So put yourself in this guy's, in Hardin's position. What would you do? You got out of prison. He probably had a deal, you know, with the guard. Uh, I don't want to denigrate the people on that job down there, but whatever. It never should have happened. We have a definite lack of professionalism. Shall we say that? I think we can say that. So whether he had to deal with the guard, or whether they were just so stupid they just let him walk out the gate, and now he's off in the woods. Boy, I tell you, that's a beautiful fire. Wish you could see it. Anyway, now he's off. And you can be sure that he had plans. He left a lot of stuff back in his cell, of course. But he knows where he can get stuff because he's been laying there in his bunk for a long time planning this. So he knows exactly where he's going to get clothes. And you go down there, there's clothes hanging out on clotheslines all over the place. If you've never been to the Ozarks, it's a different place. It really is. He's not going to have any trouble finding a weapon. He's not going to have any trouble finding clothes. I mean, he could just break in. All through the Ozarks are these cabins that people have down there for when they go down in the fall and the spring, and they leave stuff there, and he's gonna be totally kitted out, within a few days. I forget when he escaped, but I would imagine by now he's in pretty good shape. And if he doesn't want to be found, I'd be surprised. I mean, he doesn't want to be found. I think we can assume that, right? It would surprise me if he's found. Now, if he is found, it's because he finally... Oh, and another thing this guy said, oh, you're out here with the bugs and everything like that. Well, yeah, I tell you, the Ozarks is no fun in the summertime for people who aren't used to it, okay? Ticks and jiggers and snakes and all sorts of stuff. But for people who grow up there, it's nothing. It's just life. It's like saying to oh, I don't know, a surfer boy, oh, I don't know, he's going to be surrounded by water. Well, that's what he likes. That's what he's used to, right? So I imagine he's going to be out there for a while. And if the wrong people come across him, and there's a $20,000, hey, y'all need some money? There's a $20,000 reward out there from the Phoebes, I think, right? Go down there and look for him if you want. You're not going to find him. And $20,000 isn't going to make anybody down there find him. And another thing that the Ozarks is full of are people who don't much care for the government. Now, they might not like this guy, but after all, he is the devil in the Ozarks. They made a movie about him, and he's probably some kind of hero to a bunch of people, okay? They're not going to be calling the sheriff or the feds or anybody on him. He probably will find a number of people down there that'll be happy to help him. You never know. He might be sleeping in somebody's shack right now, or somebody's nice RV. Somebody might have driven him out of there. There's no way to know. Anyway, it's an interesting mental game. What would you do if you were on the run? Now, I know you're not a murderer or a rapist. What if, for whatever reason, a good person like yourself was taken captive and you had to run? You had to escape. What would you do? Good mental exercise, right? And the other lesson is here, there are far too many experts out there. Well, okay. I won't go. Just be careful who you listen to. You have to have... You remember that? I only saw it once. I'm going to use this as an example. Was it First Blood? Is that the first Rambo movie? I think I saw it when it came out. I don't remember much about it. But I do remember when he's up in the mountains and they can't find him and all this. And they bring in Richard Crenna. Was that his captain or something? I have no idea. And they said, he says, you're not going to find him. And so that's why they brought him in to kind of talk him out, kind of like they brought in, what's his name, to bring in Randy Weaver. Bo. What was Bo's last name? Bo. Some of you all know it. You know who I'm talking about. The Colonel. But you need somebody that knows the area, the terrain. And the Ozarks is not bushcrafting. It's real different. Like I say, people have been surviving out there forever. And they would make a lot of what you see on YouTube. Well, they do things a lot different. I'll just put it that way. Okay, so think about it. What would you do? And we'll see what happens. We'll see if they catch him. My money would be on them not catching him very soon. And, unless he does something stupid. But the prisons aren't full of geniuses, even if they are ex-cops and mean as a snake. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Devil in the Ozarks. Probably a lot of good lessons there. Have a good night. I'm going to watch the fire. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.